Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Not hearing me? They're not hearing me. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. They think it's this one that's not on. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Are we hearing me now? Okay, I'm getting a thumbs up from Supervisor Solis. So, yes? Okay, great. Good afternoon. We'll try this again. I am Kristen McDonald Sakota. I am Director of the Los Angeles County Department of Arts and Culture. And it is my great honor to welcome everyone here today, all of us who are here on this incredible site, and all of us who are watching from our live stream audience. I welcome all of you today as we celebrate and acknowledge the unveiling of a new civic artwork, Sobrevivir, by artist Feng Huyen. At the Department of Arts and Culture, we know that arts are integral to civic life, to social and emotional wellness, to healthy communities and well-being, and to creating inclusive civic spaces that allow us to redress civic memory, uplift underrepresented voices, and even advance values of cultural equity, of justice, of fairness, and greater belonging and inclusion for all. We also know that access to the arts is so important, just like access to other public goods that we're here to talk about today, like health and health equity, and advancing that equity for so many of our communities and neighborhoods that have not had access or the benefits in the past. One of our core charges at the Department of Arts and Culture is the commissioning and the stewarding of the LA County Civic Art Collection. And so the piece we are going to unveil and give our attention to today is a new commission, one that was done in partnership with so many great folks that I will be mentioning and that you're going to hear from today. And just another amazing example of a community-focused civic artwork here at the LAC USC Medical Center. Now, as we do this, I want to acknowledge, first and foremost, Supervisor Hilda Solis. We would not be here were it not for your leadership. Supervisor Solis and the entire Board of Supervisors, as you know, in 2018 issued that incredible and important public apology for the practice and the history of sterilization at LAC USC. I also want to acknowledge the supervisor's staff, Kim Ortega and your entire board office staff, for supporting not only this event, but this artwork and all the work we do to date, and broadly supporting the integration of arts with all of our health campuses and our county campuses. I also want to acknowledge our county colleague and partner in this endeavor, Jorge Orozco, CEO of LAC USC Medical Center. You're going to hear from him later today. And your incredible staff and partners as well. I want to acknowledge the staff of the Department of Arts and Culture, especially our Civic Art Division, the Director Grace Ramirez Gaston, and our project managers, Pat Gomez and Lelena Villanueva, who are here today, who helped make this project happen. Thank you so much. I, of course, want to thank and honor the incredible artist, Feng Huyen, who we commissioned for this incredible artwork, and you are going to get to hear from her, but an artist of extraordinary talent, Feng Huyen. And most of all, I want to uplift the women, the mothers, the family, whose terrible experience we recognize today. I, as a mother, as a leader, I'm humbled by both their hardships, but also their incredible courage, their voices, and their survivorship. And we hope that this civic artwork brings a sense of healing and shares their experience and voices to the family and communities here today and for those that will be here long to come. As we know, regretfully, Los Angeles County did participate in questionable sterilization practices in the 1960s and 70s. And so I want to honor and acknowledge the over 200 women known to have delivered babies at General Hospital at that time and subsequently underwent postpartum tubal ligations. We know that many of these women were of low-income backgrounds, were often born in Mexico, and so as we embark on today's unveiling, as we're going to hear from the other speakers, it's important that we do acknowledge the harm and the trauma that was caused, and that we understand that these are systemic issues that we've seen rooted here in this community and our Latina communities, and also unfortunately around the country and around the world. And so now we have the opportunity, as we move through this crossroads, coming out of a health crisis, still confronting an economic crisis, but also leading in recovery, uplifting our communities through every means possible, and advancing arts, equity, healing, and justice for all. I'm really so honored to have even played a small role in this moment, and I want to give a huge debt of gratitude to everyone that's been involved, from the artists to the community that helped us select the artists, to the mothers, to the staff of the hospital and the leadership here, and to our other great county health leaders who work not only here at LAUSC, but broadly in health services and in public health, like Dr. Barbara Ferrer, who was not afraid to tell us that racism is a public health issue, to our next speaker, the incredible Dr. Christina Galley, who heads up LA County's Department of Health Services. Please, a round of applause for Ms. Christina Galley, and thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for everyone being here today. I want to offer my thanks, Supervisor Solis, to you and to your amazing staff for championing this project, for recognizing the importance of this work, for recognizing the harm that was done and the need to make amends in some small way, and to the entire Board of Supervisors for supporting this endeavor and calling attention to the injustice that was done several decades ago. I also want to offer my thanks to the LACUSC staff, several of which are here today, who put in an immense amount of work to make this event happen and to get the art installed and the grounds as beautiful as they are. I want to also offer my thanks to the artist, Ms. Nguyen. Thank you for pouring your effort and energy into this project. Thank you for helping it to come alive and bringing this very visible recognition of what we're here today to honor. Like many of you, I'm a mother. I know the joy that comes with children, and I know also that incredible vulnerability that comes at the moment of childbirth, and how it's very hard to make decisions in that moment, much less if you're not even given the chance to make a decision about where you want to go with your future reproduction. And I want to apologize on behalf of the county, on behalf of the Department of Health Services, for all those who were harmed by the practices that took place in the 1960s and 70s. Women should not be coerced into doing something that is not what they want to do. And I think that we have a chance today to come together and to, in some small way, to bring healing and reconciliation to that set of events, and to apologize. And to apologize to the women and to their children, many of which are here or might be watching, but also to commit and recommit to doing better from now on and into the future, to honoring the preferences of our patients and our clients and of those we serve across the county, to committing ourselves to do no harm, which is the fundamental purpose of medicine from millennia ago. And we often have a long way to go, because time and time again we've seen in history that medicine, as well as other disciplines, have taken advantage of populations that were vulnerable for a variety of reasons. People that didn't speak English, people who were accessing services and may have been afraid or didn't understand. And we've made judgments. We've made judgments about what people want or what might be best for them, or just what we wanted. And that is obviously an incredible injustice to the people that had to experience that pain. So thank you for coming here. Thank you for bringing your heart with you here, and for just joining in this event today and giving honor to those women and to their families, and for recommitting to never having this type of a practice happen again. It is now my great privilege to introduce Mr. Jorge Orozco, the CEO at LACUSC Medical Center. He's an incredible leader for this campus, and I'm very honored to work with him and glad to have him with you today.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Christina, Dr. Galli, for your inspirational words and recognitions. It really is a profound honor for me to be here today, to be part of this unveiling for Sobrevivir, the art piece. Let me begin by acknowledging the County of Los Angeles recognizes that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Chumash, Kiz, Serrano, Tatavian, and Tonga peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants, past, present, and emerging, as they continue their stewardship of these lands and waters. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in land seizures, disease, subjugation, relocation, broken promises, genocide, and multi-generational trauma. Today, we are here to reconcile with the fact that this hospital has profoundly harmed our Latino community that it was meant to serve. This artwork is extremely important for our medical center as it will highlight the sins of our past and begin the healing process. Please know that this recognition and art piece is in no way a critique of the amazing care and dedication, past and present, of our OBGYN department and providers. Rather, it's an atonement for the serious harm that we have caused and the need to rebuild community trust. It has never been more important to create an equitable and comprehensive healthcare system. This includes reckoning with and addressing the coerced sterilization suffered by over 240 women here in the 60s and 70s. I would like to thank Supervisor Solis for her courage to publicly apologize on behalf of the county. A public apology to these women and their families was the first step towards acknowledging a history that has been denied and hidden for far too long. Beyond the apology, we wanted to memorialize this forever on our campus with the artwork that can serve to heal the relationship and trust between our medical center and our community. We commissioned Feng Wen, an amazing artist, mother, community visionary, and leader who has brought her immigrant experience and roots in our community to engage survivors, family, and diverse community voices into the creation of Sobrevivir. So thank you, Feng, for gracing our campus with your powerful work. Finally, I want to point out that although LACUSC is the first medical center in the country to acknowledge and atone for its past sterilization practices, there were many other hospitals locally in Los Angeles and across the country that, because of racist policies, lack of language and cultural interpretations, complicity with eugenics beliefs, thousands of largely immigrant and Native women were sterilized in the United States without their full consent or permission. Now, I would like to introduce Dr. Leila Al-Mariati, Service Chief of our Obstetrics and Gynecology Service here at LACUSC.
Good afternoon. As the Service Chief for the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at LACUSC Medical Center, I am honored to be here to share with you our current commitment to the health and well-being of the patients we serve, many of whom are in vulnerable circumstances similar to those faced by the women we are recognizing today. We provide obstetric and gynecologic care to our patients throughout their lifespan with an approach that is patient-centered, trauma-informed, and involves shared decision-making with a robust process for obtaining informed consent in all settings and in all languages, and with appropriate supervision of all of our trainees. We acknowledge that it is our responsibility to confirm that the final accountability for whatever happens rests with us, the faculty. In addition, LA County now provides immediately available translation services so that barriers to communication and understanding are reduced, although they are not eliminated. Our department, under the leadership of our Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Dr. Nicole Mitchell, has led the way at Keck and County to work towards the elimination of bias and discrimination that has harmed so many of our patients. In addition, we are focused on the recruitment of a diverse group of physicians and other healthcare providers who can offer culturally sensitive care. A major part of this effort includes educating ourselves and all members of the healthcare team about the perils of being a passive bystander, thereby empowering everyone to have the courage to speak up in the setting of injustice and wrongdoing, as Dr. Rosenfeld did many years ago. I know there must have been nurses, doctors, patients, and others who felt the urge to say something but could not find the courage to speak or were afraid of retaliation. This is a job that we have to work on continuously to improve even today. We are constantly striving to remain steadfast and vigilant in order to prevent similar harms from ever happening again. Thank you so much. And it is truly my honor to introduce our Los Angeles County Supervisor, Hilda Solis, representing the 1st District, and I'm really privileged to be here with you. Thank you.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for that very kind introduction. My name is Hilda Solis, and yes, indeed, I do represent the 1st District right here, home to LAC USC campus, which also includes the East Side and many other important places here. As we are all aware, our state and our county have a dark history when it comes to forced sterilizations. From the time the law was instituted back in 1909 to its repeal in 1979, over 20,000 people were coerced into sterilization to prevent people with so-called undesirable traits from passing on their genes. This included immigrants, people of color, poor people, unmarried mothers, the disabled, and the mentally ill. Unsurprisingly, a disproportionate number of those targeted happened to be Latinas, who were 59% more likely to be sterilized than non-Latina residents. During that time, LA County did not have a program for forced sterilizations, but some patients were sterilized at county hospitals without truly being informed and given consent, due to language and cultural barriers, as you've already heard. Between 1968 and 1974, over 240 women were sterilized at LAC USC Medical Center. Many of these women had to live the rest of their lives with what they were forced to undergo, and some did not even realize until later that they had lost their reproductive rights during subsequent doctor visits. This was an assault, in my opinion, on their freedom and their bodily autonomy, something we are unfortunately seeing once again with the Supreme Court's ruling to end the constitutional right to abortion. I learned about this horror when I began my work in the California legislature as the first Latina to serve in the state Senate fighting for women's rights, especially for women of color. I took this very personally. However, the story of these women made me think differently about the fight for reproductive rights. It really hit me hard. These women reminded me so much of my own family members, my mom, my tias, and friends. They were immigrant women, factory workers, restaurant cooks, and homemakers. So I vowed to someday help them out. It was in 2018 that I co-authored a motion with Supervisor Sheila Kuehl to issue a formal apology to the women and families who were harmed by the county's coercive sterilization practices. And in 2020, as we marked the teardown of the Old Women and Children's Hospital to build our restorative care village at LACUSC, we held a ceremony with the Tongva and Danzantes and Chimimecha to bless and cleanse the land where these atrocities took place. And we once more issued a formal apology. But we have to do more. Last year, I authored a motion urging state leaders to provide reparations to survivors, helping to ease the financial burdens they may be experiencing. I know no amount of money could ever fully be enough to account for the terrible experiences that these women had to endure. But it was very important for me to ensure survivors were not left out of a corrective action plan and all the steps that were necessary to make them whole. I have often discussed the need to build a more comprehensive and equitable healthcare system, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic, which hit our Latino and immigrant communities so hard. However, we cannot truly move forward and address systemic issues without fully confronting our most egregious sins of the past, including what happened unjustly to these survivors. So on behalf of the County of Los Angeles, I'd like to say once more that we apologize for the terrible experience that they went through. Today's unveiling of Sobrevivir by artist Fang Nguyen is an opportunity for all of us to heal. I want to thank everyone for being here, and I remain committed to making this right always. And I'd now like to say a few words in Spanish, if I might. Buenas tardes a todos. Entre 1968 y 64, más de 240 mujeres fueron esterilizadas aquí en el Hospital General. Muchas de estas mujeres tuvieron que vivir el resto de sus vidas con lo que se vieron obligadas a sufrir. Y algunas no sabían que habían perdido sus derechos reproductivos hasta más tarde durante las siguientes visitas médicas. Esto fue un asalto de su libertad, algo que estamos viendo una vez más con la decisión de la Corte Suprema de terminar con el derecho constitucional al aborto. Si me di cuenta este horror cuando trabajé en la legislatura en el Senado, como la primera latina en servir en el Senado estatal, luchando por los derechos de las mujeres, especialmente las mujeres de color. Lo tomé yo muy personal. Pero la historia de estas mujeres me hizo pensar diferente sobre la lucha por los derechos reproductivos. Estas mujeres me recordaban mucho de mi mamá y mis tías y amigas. Entonces, prometí ayudarle a ellas. No podemos realmente sanar los problemas sistémicos sin ver por completo nuestros pecados más malos del pasado, y eso incluye a lo que les pasó a estas mujeres y sus familias. Entonces, en el nombre del Condado de Los Ángeles, me gustaría decir una vez más que nos disculpamos por el terrible experiencia que pasó aquí en este lugar. La presentación de Sobrevivir de la artista Fang Nguyen es una oportunidad para dar gracias y tener nuestros corazones con estas familias, especialmente las mujeres y las familias que han sufrido tanto. Thank you very much. I'm very happy now. It's an honor to present to you our artists that provided this opportunity for us to celebrate and heal and to start here at LACUSC. We are indebted to you, to your staff, and to the entire family at LACUSC and everyone that had a hand in putting this together. I am deeply moved and honored and very happy to present you our artist, Fang Nguyen. Please join us in welcoming her.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Solis. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes a todos. Thank you, LAC USC Medical Center, community members, and honored guests for being here today to unveil and dedicate the artwork that recognizes and expresses apologies to more than 200 mothers who were coarsely sterilized at the Los Angeles County USC Medical Center between 1968 and 1974. I am a Los Angeles-based artist, educator, and mother with a practice in drawing, painting, public art, and community engagement. I am deeply grateful for this opportunity to make the most meaningful art I will ever create in my lifetime. This would not have been possible without the leadership of Supervisor Hilda Solis and LEC USC CEO Jorge Orozco to bring forth a public apology formally issued by the county and to have a permanent artwork that will memorialize and atone for this dark period of the hospital's history. I would also like to thank the LA County Department of Arts and Culture, Director Kristen Sakota, and Director of Civic Art, Grace Ramirez Gaston, for supporting this project and demonstrating that art is a critical conduit for cultural equity. And my project managers, Pat Gomez and Lalenia Velanowith, thank you for believing in me and riding through the challenges that could never deter us. Because what always anchored us is that we are doing this for the mothers. Thank you, Connie Castro and your amazing team, as well as Sajid Yarankar and the facility team here at the hospital for making sure I had the full support to make this project happen. I first learned about the history of coerced sterilizations through the 2015 documentary No Más Bebés, produced by Virginia Espino and Renee Tajima Peña, who are here today. No Más Bebés provide me the opportunity to listen deeply to and learn from the mothers and from the survivors. Hearing how the mothers internalize their own pain, trauma, and suffering was heartbreaking. Without this impactful documentary, the voices and stories of the mothers would probably have been forgotten, so thank you. Justice for the mothers could not have been possible without Dr. Bernard Rosenfeld, a young resident at LAC USC in the early 1970s who uncovered that Mexican immigrant women were being sterilized by tubal ligation without informed consent. In 1975, Dr. Rosenfeld gave boxes of files to a young Latina lawyer, Antonia Hernandez, and with the help of the activist group Comisión Femenil, they filed a class action lawsuit now known as Madrigal versus Killigan to seek justice for the survivors. The name of the artwork is Sobrevivir, which means to survive, to keep alive. The spirit of Sobrevivir is rooted in the very words of the mothers, and I wanted the artwork to include the perspectives and expressions of the survivors. On the wall that surrounds the artwork are the actual words of the mothers in metal. I also wanted the artwork to echo the cultural and artistic practices and traditions of Mexico, where the mothers are from. For example, leather tooling is a beautiful and highly skilled craft, and the elegant markings on leather, which is ultimately skin, is symbolic of the mothers' sobrevivir, their resilience, and how they transformed their suffering. Throughout the artwork are flowers, which are important symbols of fertility, as well as offerings, and in this case, an offering of deep apology. Many of the mothers relied on devotion and prayer to cope and heal. Central to the artwork are the hands of the Guadalupe, who in many ways is a powerful representation of Los Angeles. I did not want to drastically disrupt the space and decided to keep the original circular form by removing the existing labyrinth stones and replacing with a circular artwork made of Corten steel. The idea is to create a powerful piece that would invite viewers to learn about the mothers and deeply connect with their experiences. The austere physicality of the medal is complemented by the effects of light, and the artwork illuminates at night, similar to the subtle, spotted golden glow of candlelight, to enhance the feeling of a contemplative yet powerful space. Part of the art project included a public engagement activity where I invited participants to provide feedback on my designs and to create 4 community quilts, which will be installed here at the hospital. Those who participated included community members, students, mothers, activists, women who gave birth at the hospital, and women who were part of Comisión Femenil. This is a haunting story, and dark histories will continue to haunt us unless we do something about them. This is the beginning of the effort to repair and heal. LAC USC is a place where people come to receive care, and I hope that as custodians of this artwork, you will share the stories of the mothers, to heal from a dark past, and to form stronger communities as we continue to reconcile and rebuild. Lastly, and most importantly, I want to express my deepest gratitude and respect for the survivors. As a Southeast Asian refugee who has given birth to 2 sons by way of emergency cesarean section, I never take for granted what the mothers have been through to safeguard my reproductive health and my reproductive rights. Their Sobrevivir continue to protect me and many women for generations to come. Queridas madres, you no longer have to bear the weight on your own, because we will share your burdens with you and make sure your stories will stay alive. Thank you. Muchas gracias. And now it is my honor and pleasure to introduce Betty Avila, Executive Director of Self-Help Graphics.
Good afternoon, everybody. It is an honor to be here with this incredible group of distinguished leaders. And Fung, thank you so much. Thank you, Supervisor Solis, for making this possible and for bringing us here to this time and place and context when this horrendous experience can be talked about openly and acknowledged. I'm a founding member of the Health Innovation Community Partnership by way of Self-Help Graphics and Art, and I have the privilege of sharing with you the importance of the community partnership as we continue to build trust with our community and recognize that there's still much work to be done to continue to improve the health and wellness of the community here. This is an important moment to bring to light the coercion and harm done to women by this health institution, but to do it in a way that heals and gives opportunity for contemplation and honoring of the survivors. For far too long, the communities of Boyle Heights, City Terrace, Lincoln Heights, El Sereno, East LA, and Northeast LA have been negatively affected by the racist policies and practices instituted in the name of progress. It is important that civic art like this does not shy away from the truth, but recognizes what has been done to a community and invites healing, contemplation, and begins to rebuild trust. I was also part of the panel that selected Fung and her proposal for this art piece. And I was going to share about her process with you because I think it's so important, and she did that so beautifully. But as somebody who works in the arts and works in community, I can tell you that Fung is a deep embodiment of what it is to use art as a tool and vessel for community healing and empowerment. And I've seen it time and time again. You are a bridge, you are a vessel, and it is such an honor that you are the person who gets to bring this forward to this space here in this community. On behalf of the membership of the Health Innovation Community Partnership, it is our intent to continue to do this community building work and to work with our healthcare and other department partners to enhance the legacy of health and healing with the voice of community heroes, survivors, and future generations. Thank you so much, Fung, and thank you so much, Rosa, for your leadership with HICA. I'd now like to introduce Reverend Elizabeth Gibbs Zunder, Chaplain of the Department of Spiritual Care here at LAC USC.
It is an honor to be in the circle with all of you today. At this time, I would like to invite the unveilers to come and make your way to your part of the sculpture. I am so grateful that Feng Win chose metal and steel to embody the mother's words. Now their experience can never be obscured. It won't be lost in a stack of medical charts. It won't be shuffled from side to side in stacks of paper. It won't be silenced by racism and neglect. Their words are here for God and everybody to see. They point to the horrific truth in such a way that I hope that the burden that these women have carried for so many years may begin to lift. There's a blessing in these words for us as well. I mean, you can see for yourself, they are literally centered at the heart of the LAC USC Medical Campus. I invite the unveilers to unveil the words at this time. We'll leave the center for now. If you speak English, they treat you one way. Dr. Gali? Mr. Orozco? If you don't speak English, they treat you another way. Yo por dentro siento mucha tristeza. Se me acabó se me acabó la canción. May it be that they are ever present, these words, as we continue the privilege of providing medical care to every member of our community. May these words reside in our hearts and minds as we introduce ourselves to our patients and we enter into an alliance of healing with them. May these words ensure that every patient who comes to us for care, may these words ensure that they find the healing that they are seeking in their body, in their mind, and in their spirit. May we be so blessed. Amen. And now please unveil the centerpiece of the artwork. And now, Supervisor Solis, will you please unveil the plaque of dedication? And now, please welcome Rosa Sota.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all very much for attending this important ceremony and continuation of our apology and healing. We would like to invite everyone to a reception that we have at the end of the fitness trail. We have a few workshops that will be occurring, including one that Fang will be doing that relates to the art piece. And then we will have a women's resource fair for our community and for our partners. So please join us. at the end of the fitness trail with the Wellness Center. So on behalf of the County of Los Angeles, Supervisor Solis, the Health Innovation Community Partnership, LAC-USC Medical Center and staff, and Fang Wen and the Arts and Culture Department, we appreciate everyone's attendance today. Have a good afternoon.
In the summer of 2019, there was a call for artists to apply for this opportunity to make artwork on the coerced sterilization recognition project here at LAC-USC. It is such an impactful story, something that's extremely tragic and sad, but an honor to be able to do that, to be able to make work about the mothers who survived. The word that really describes the tone of this artwork is sobrevivir. Not only survival, but keeping alive the stories of the mothers and the legacy of how these mothers fought for so many generations of women after them to protect their reproductive rights. And the site where the artwork was going to be was a large circular labyrinth stone that was a little over 21 feet in diameter. And when I saw the site, it looks like, almost like the Sistine Chapel when Michelangelo designed the colonnade to be like an arm embracing, so that when you visited the chapel, you're supposed to feel like a divine embrace. And I kind of felt that when I visited the space. So I didn't want whatever artwork I came up with to erase the location and its feeling. When I watched the documentary No Mas Bebes, there are certain quotes that were really, really important to me that I wanted to be included in the artwork. One was, if you speak English, they treat you one way. If you don't speak English, they treat you another. And for me, being a refugee and immigrant, this is something that I completely understand. And this is really important. This artwork is about apology. I was commissioned by the county to create an artwork that exposed what happened and to apologize for it. And something that was really important that both Virginia and Jorge said was, this artwork has to be impactful.